All right, guys, so I know it's been a little while since I've put one of these out. Just trying to do one a week, but the last 60, 90 days have been absolutely nuts for me, and it's really not going to slow down until August, so these are going to be somewhat spotty. For those of you who don't know, in less than a month, I actually moved from Indianapolis to San Diego, California, and I am freaking pumped. I absolutely love San Diego. It's one of my favorite places I've been. So we are working with the Navy. For those of you who don't know that, my wife is commissioned as an officer, as a military psychologist in the Navy. So that's actually what initially brought us out to San Diego, but I've been wanting to head to Southern California or Hawaii for a couple years now. So I'm super, super excited about connections I already have down there, networking, things of that nature. But I wanted to talk in this particular video about going $1 million into debt on a cash out refinance. I'm not going to get into the whole, Dave Ramsey, leverage, etc. I'll walk you through our metrics and why I'm comfortable with it, though. So, it was a couple months ago now. I signed on the dotted line, several dotted lines for our first $1 million deal. It was the purchase of a 12-unit apartment complex as well as a cash out refinance on a duplex and 5 other houses. So, pretty big deal, pretty cool deal. Not gonna lie, it was pretty neat to have accomplished my first 7-figure deal, even though it was deals, right? So, about the time that this was going on, my wife and I, unfortunately, a good friend of ours, his pretty successful, pretty large company went belly up. And it's super painful for them. It's hard to see somebody you care about go through that kind of a thing. It could have been prevented, which sucks, and significantly impacted a lot of families. There's a lot of people that had to file bankruptcy, not non-real estate related. So, as we're doing this deal, my wife asks if we can talk. And, yeah, absolutely, we're married. That's what we're supposed to do, right? So she sits me down and says, hey, is there any way that what happened to them could happen to us on this deal? So I was like, you know what, babe? Let's break down the numbers and look at it. So we got a 5.25% interest rate on a 20-year amortization. Local community bank, so honestly a pretty decent deal. The payments on this are $6,700 a month. Now we're currently 100% full. If for some reason that dropped to 0 tomorrow, which I don't even know how that would happen. These properties are in different neighborhoods, different asset classes, etc. But if for some reason everybody stopped paying us $6,700 a month, fortunately is a payment that her and I can cover between me buying and selling properties, the other companies I own, and her salary. But obviously that's super, super unlikely, and hopefully something we never encounter. On the flip side, the amount of units that are in this particular deal, we would only have to rent each property for $340 a month to cover this debt. Now, the reason I'm totally comfortable, inside this portfolio, I've got a single family that pulls in $1,575 a month. I've got another single family that pulls in $1,400 a month. I've got another one that pulls in $1,225. Another one that pulls in $1,000. Even in the 12 unit, I think our cheapest rent, which is one we just haven't raised yet, is $650. So there's really not a way that this goes bad for us. And that's, I think, because of the fact that we buy only really, really good deals. So our total cost into these things is 75% of what they're currently worth. So that's after removing the cost of marketing, holding costs, repairs, acquisitions, utilities, holding costs, which I already threw out there. So for starters, we've gotten really, really, really good deals on these things. But then the other thing is I'm not buying for appreciation. These aren't breaks even, or oh well, it's going to cost me $50 a month, but maybe someday it'll appreciate and I can sell it for a profit. How we do things, I'm always buying good deals that cash flow. So that means we're going to be all in for no more than 75% of what it's worth. And then we're also targeting a 1.25% rent to cost ratio. So if I'm all in for $100K, I'm expecting minimum $1,250 in rent. Some of our properties, some of our projects do significantly better than that. Some of them are right at that metric. But that basically makes sure that we're ending up into good deals that we could get out of if we need it, but that pay for themselves. So we don't buy for appreciation when it happens. It's a nice thing. So that was our discussion around going $1 million into debt. Big difference I'll point out for any Dave Ramsey fans. There's a big difference between being in consumer debt or owning being house poor, right? Owning $1 million home, and that pretty much is all you can afford. This is cash flowing debt. This is debt that pays for itself, that other people are paying down for me. Currently, our portfolio is up to about $8 million in assets, which means we've got about another $5 million in debt that I need to refinance. I'll do that all day long. So just be smart, especially when you're using leverage as kind of the disclaimer. But I had a lot of people ask, what it was like to sign a 7-figure deal. Were we worried about the payments on it, etc. So other than that, we are super, super excited to end up in San Diego. My business here really won't change all that much. My acquisitions manager, Noah, who quite frankly does a lot more than acquisitions, is going to basically become an equity owner in everything we do going forward, and it'll really be his baby to kind of foster and grow. I've got some other projects and stuff that I'm working on kind of personally that are going to take a lot of my focus, basically growing the companies that I already have. But any of you guys that are in San Diego, looking forward to kind of getting out, meeting people, attending local RIAs, joining some of the local entrepreneur communities. Good luck. Happy investing. Updates are going to be kind of sporadic with us moving, but talk to you soon.